weather has been absolutely fantastic the last few weeks. We've had pretty much wall-to-wall sunshine every day. We've had temperatures up to 25, 26 degrees at best, and no rain at all, so there's been a lot of watering in the garden. So it's meant that a lot of plants have grown really, really well. Coming up in today's episode of Yorkshire Kris Weekly. Well, it's a beautiful morning, 8 o'clock on a Sunday, sun's shining. The early morning sun is catching this nice blue Borinda 1046 bamboo. It's actually recovered really well, so the leaves were all straw coloured just a few weeks ago, but lots of new leaves have come through, so it looks pretty good now. What we're going to do this morning is divide this bamboo, because I love the blue canes on this and I want it in a different part of the garden. So we're going to cut a section of this clump forming bamboo and transfer it somewhere else in the garden. So I've got my spade, I'm just going to go in and cut through a section with this, and I might need to get a saw out to actually get through the rhizomes underground. So I'll get digging. Well, I've just put my fork in the ground next to the bamboo and it's broken off one of the prongs. So that 10-year guarantee didn't last very long. It's a few months old, so I'll be returning that. Anyway, back to the bamboo. So I've dug around part of this bamboo, and now I'm going to go in with a heavy duty loppers and cut through the rhizomes and probably the saw to divide the clump here. Now, an important thing I should have said is that I'm dividing this bamboo before it starts shooting. So this blue bamboo hasn't actually produced a new culm so far this spring. So it's better to divide them before the new culms come through. So that's why I'm doing it now. Well, after digging for over an hour and breaking a fork and a spade, I've had to resort to using the reciprocating saw, and I've got through the clump. Now the clump itself, if you look at it, there's nothing there really in terms of soil. It's so dry, so I need to give this a really good water. But you can see there are some buds for new culms in here, because this is a clump forming one, so all the bulbs produce very close to the older ones. So I've got 4 canes here. I'm going to cut back the foliage, soak this and plant it straight away. So I've got my planting hole now, and I've soaked this with loads of water in the bottom of it, and now I'm going to plant the bamboo. So I've got the bamboo here now that I've just put in this trug with water to keep it wet. Wet the hole. Now I'm just going to lift it up and plant it in here. We'll have it that way. Lots of new roots all around here. So I'll just backfill this with the compost. I'll firm this in well, and then I'll give it a real good water, and then in probably the next 6 to 8 weeks the new shoots should start coming up. One other thing I'm going to do as well is on the top of the bamboo, although it's mainly cane, first half of it, I'm going to cut a lot of this foliage off because it's lost quite a lot of roots with transplanting, and I don't want it to transpire too much and shrivel up. So I'll cut back a lot of the foliage to compensate for the root loss. So that's it, job done. So I've cut off the top metre or so of foliage just to help with water loss. It won't take long for this bamboo to bulk up and be as large as this one, which only took 2 years. Now this huge 4 metre plus cane came away when I divided the bamboo, and it's just left basically with hardly any roots. But I'm going to cut off all the cane because there is a new shoot forming at the bottom. Pot this up and hopefully it'll grow. So now that it's getting to mid-May, I've been hardening off everything that's been in the greenhouse. So the greenhouse doors have been completely open in the daytime, and also at night time when we haven't had the cold nights. We've had a few cold nights down to 4 to 6 degrees, but looking at the forecast it doesn't look like we're going to get any more cold nights for the next week or so. So it's time to get to the end of hardening off process, whereby everything is at the greenhouse now, and it's going to stay out all night as well. And I put everything in this shaded area here so the leaves don't get scorched, and this is pretty much the entire contents of the greenhouse out now. So we've got all the seedlings, zinnias and the ricinus, sweet corn there, and they're all out. We've got the begonias, gingers and sete bananas, and all the colourful bedding plants all out and all in the shade, including a few colocasias that stayed in. So these will stay here now for a few more days, and then next week or the week after they'll all be planted out in the garden. So that's the hardening off process.
Here we have the differences between Gunnera manicata and Tinctoria, with manicata on the left with the more open flowers, and Tinctoria on the right with the more clustered flowers. And when we look at the top of the leaves, the manicata has the white veins, whereas the Tinctoria has the red veins, sometimes fade to white. Underneath, the manicata has lots of little spines, whereas the Tinctoria has less spines. And then the overall leaf shape is flatter on the manicata on the left and more 3D and crimpled on the Tinctoria on the right. To tell the difference between Trachycarpus male and female flowers, well, the male flowers are bright yellow and appear earlier than the female flowers, which are shown on the right, which are sort of greenish yellow and hang down a little further.
So I've managed to get all this border here digged over in winter, and now I've put loads of topsoil and manure mixed in all over this area. So I added an extra 4 cubic ton of topsoil in this part of the garden, which has given me loads more planting space. And already, as I've shown earlier, I planted this nice Butia caturiensis. Down this side I've got all my Trachycarpus palms, and over here I've got the Butiagris palm, mule palm. So it's given me loads of space to plant. So all the summer bedding is going to go in this area along with the bananas. Just need to add a bit more topsoil to get the levels quite right. and then it's fun because we get to plant it up for summer colour. This year is going to be summer colour. Next year, once the ground is settled, I'll add more topsoil and then I'll put the permanent planting that's going to go in here to give the large jungle effect in this part of the garden. This is the sunny side of the garden, so this is going to be all summer loving plants, sun loving plants on this side, whereas on the opposite side we'll get the shade tolerant plants. So it's been a lot of hard work to get to this stage, but the next part is definitely the fun part. Well, I've got a lot done in the garden today, started very early. I'm very happy with all the soil that's gone down in these parts of the garden, plants that have been planted, a lot of watering as well. So thanks for watching, and next week I'll be planting a Trachycarpus palm